And anybody, not just Navy SEALs, but anybody that can accomplish anything that is hard. Mm-hmm. The only separator is that they really want to be there. Mm-hmm. There's some people that get inspired, mm-hmm. and that inspiration moves them to try to do something. But that inspiration is very high right now in this nice environment. We're in a nice environment. Mm-hmm. The ocean's out there. Mm-hmm. I'm talking to you. If I want to go to the fucking refrigerator and get something to drink, mm-hmm. eat, I can. I watch a movie about some badasses, you're inspired. Mm-hmm. But the second you're not in this environment, mm-hmm. and you're actually doing what inspired you, that suck factor is now real. You can't just get off your fucking couch and get a fucking shake, mm-hmm. or get a fucking box of donuts, or turn the TV, or go take a shit or a piss, or mm-hmm. go get your girlfriend to cuddle up. No, mm-hmm. you're now there. And only those people who have been there a million times in their minds, mm-hmm. and have lived in that water and have suffered a million times and realize my legs may break, mm-hmm. my knee may break, my bones will hurt. I will be the coldest I've been in my life. I will be miserable, and accept that. Because what happens is when you get in a horrible situation in life, your mind, I call it my 1 second decision. When you get in a horrible situation in life, your mind immediately says, get the fuck out of here. Mm-hmm. Everybody's does, even if you want to be there. Mm-hmm. But it starts to have all these different questions, mm-hmm. in your mind in that 1 second. And it says, okay, why are you here? Why are you doing this? Why this? Why that? And then you start to say to yourself, if you don't want to be there that bad, I have a beautiful wife at home, man. Why the fuck am I doing this, man? Mm-hmm. Like, this is stupid. This is gonna get these guys injured. Like they're gonna pay for this, mm-hmm. for the rest of their lives. I'm not gonna break my body up to do this. Mm-hmm. Your mind starts to say, yeah, this is stupid. Mm-hmm. But if you are already knowing that this is gonna happen to you, you have all the answers to these questions, mm-hmm. that your mind starts to give you when you're in suffer mode. Yeah. And that's what I realized.
You true that's your visualization of those moments over and over?
Over and over again. You have to be there but not there at the graduation.
Okay.
You gotta be there in the worst
in the
parts
suffering
that you know over and over again. You gotta live that in your mind.
Do you like suffering, or do you just deal with suffering? Real answer.
Real answer?
Yeah.
I like to see. Real answer, I like to get a bunch of men together.
Okay.
Men,
mm-hmm.
that are the hardest of the hard. Mm-hmm. And I want to be with these men. And I want to see them suffer. Because I'm suffering right along with you, but I want to see me get through it. I want to see what you're made of. I want to see, almost like the Colosseum, mm-hmm. in Rome. Mm-hmm. Let's fucking go to the fucking Colosseum. And the only way to see who the baddest motherfucker is to suffer. You can't do it by writing a paper. So let's go. Because why? What I found out through my life was I thought of myself as some weak little bitch kid. And what I found out, and the only message I want to get across to people is, once you change one thing, your mindset, you can attack everything. And I find it fascinating. I'm fascinated. Because I'll be in these moments. I put these guys on some fucking pedestal.
Yeah. Which people do with you.
They do with me, and they shouldn't. And I was this guy who was a piece of shit looking at these, oh my God, how are you guys this amazing? But once I worked my way up there, I said, my God, man, we can all compete, motherfucker. Let's go. So do I like suffering? I like suffering in the way that is competitive. Yep. That brings out the absolute best in me and in everybody else. Mm-hmm. So I want to see a man be defeated. Mm-hmm. I want to see a man get broken and say, fuck you. Mm-hmm. I love these men. Mm-hmm. These men I love, but there's very few of them. Mm-hmm. There's very few of them. And there's very few that are willing to go there more than once. Mm. A lot of people, even people who've gone through special ops, it kicks the shit out of them to a point where in their mind, what got me bad in pararescue was when I was going through it, I said, I'm only going to do this one time. And so many people in special ops, whether they believe it or not, in anything, fuck special ops in anything, that's hard. I'm only doing this one time. Once you say that, you fucked yourself. Who I was this nobody guy. Mm-hmm. And I created this Goggins. Mm-hmm. And that Goggins, there's David Goggins and there's Goggins. David Goggins is a calm, cool guy that sits back. Used to be a, weak kid. Mm-hmm. Now he's just a normal guy. Mm-hmm. Goggins is a guy that is willing to tape up his legs to go after it. Mm-hmm. In that book, you read about David Goggins and also Goggins. What I realized in my life is that Goggins is who I love. Mm-mm. Goggins is who I created. Mm. My dad created David Goggins. I created Goggins. Mm. So what's happening with me, and since Can't Hurt Me came out, and since I got on social media, which is why I fucking don't like social media, which is why I'm not on there very much, which is why I give people one time, I have to do me. Mm-hmm. I have to do me. So people get it fucking twisted, man. I am who I am. Yeah. What's in that book is me. Yeah. So now what they see is this guy who's trying to get people to get off their fucking ass. Mm-hmm. That just happened to happen, man. Mm-hmm. I didn't set out. When I set out to be a fucking SEAL and set out to go to Ranger School and all this other shit I did and break records, I didn't set out to fucking please motherfuckers. Right. I didn't set out to say, hey, pay me now. Mm-hmm. I got a great fucking story. Mm-hmm. Fuck that. Mm-hmm. And I realize now that my life has kind of gotten to a point where people know me. Mm-hmm. I have followers and whatnot. The biggest depression of my life is you get caught up into helping so many people out, and it's great, and I love that, but you lose yourself in all of that shit. Truth. It literally, and people go, man, but my God, like you're changing. I get all that shit, man. Mm-hmm. But what the fuck is motivating you in that book? What's motivating you is the fucking stories I'm telling you about what I did in my life. Mm-hmm. Once I stop living that, I'm no more. Yes. I am not the fucker that you are now being motivated from. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So right now in the mirror, I now got back to Goggins. Mm-hmm. I'm now back to running 100 miles a week. I'm now back to getting the fuck. I saw and I talk to my girl about it all the time. You travel, you speak, you all this shit. Mm-hmm. It's all fucking great and dandy for most people. Mm-hmm. I'm Goggins. What makes me is the dungeon. Mm-hmm. And people are, well, oh my God, like they're gonna hear this, my God, you don't have any peace in your life. Don't get it fucking twisted. Mm-hmm. Weak people who hear me get all fucking poopy pants about how I talk. So be it. Mm. What changed me was I had to be hard on myself. Yep. And I have to continue to grind myself into a fine dust. Yeah. Period. Yeah. That's where I feel good. Mm-hmm. I feel like I accomplished something. If things come easy, it's not fun. I must fail at something repeatedly. Mm-hmm. It has to haunt me. Mm-hmm. And then once I complete it, I feel like I accomplished something. Mm-hmm. I don't want to set out and say, oh, there's an A. We're good. Right. It's fucking stupid. Mm-hmm. No, I want to turn it in a million times and say you failed. You failed. And I'll say, okay, Roger that. Mm-hmm. And sit there and analyze what I'm doing wrong. Go to these places that people don't go to anymore because all this fucking social media shit and everything's computerized. Mm-hmm. I want to go to that dark place in my mind and say, okay, how are we going to get this done? I'm looking at all these different races, and one comes up, number one, the hardest race in the world, Badwater 135. 135-mile race through Death Valley. I'm like, that sounds fucking nuts. But it didn't describe that it was a couple day race. I'm thinking, okay, that has to be like a fucking 7-day race. Because I don't know people who run like that. So I end up calling Chris Kosman up. Chris Kosman is the race director of Badwater. And he lives out here in California. He's like, hey, man. I'm like, hey, Chris. I call him up in the first conversation. I actually have all the emails in my book for me, him going back. He's a fucking stickler, man, to tell you that. So I call him up and say, hey, man, I'm going to do this race. He's like, have you ever run 100 miles before? I'm like, no. He goes, well, to get my race, you have to do a 100-mile race. And you got to do 100 miles in 24 hours or less. Mm-hmm. There was only 2 more races I could do before the deadline dropped. And so I'm like, he goes, you live in San Diego, right? I'm like, yeah. This was Wednesday. I call him up on a Wednesday morning. He goes, well, there's a race on Saturday. Mm-hmm. And it's called the San Diego One Day. at Hospitality Point in San Diego, where you run around a 1 mile track for 24 hours, and how many miles you can get. So I'm like, fuck it, man. This guy's kind of calling me out. I'm gonna get this shit done. I'm a SEAL. I'm a badass. Been through Ranger School and shit. I got this. Hardest thing I did my entire life, dude, was this one race. So I go.
Harder than getting through.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
I was not prepared.
Okay.
At all. So I go. I sign up for the race. I show up. I'm this big bodybuilder looking guy.
Yeah.
Shirt off, black hat on, and I set out. So every mile, I'm gonna see this blue lawn chair. I had Ritz crackers and Mileplex. That was my fucking nutrition, man.
Yeah.
No water, no nothing. Just Mileplex.
No water?
No. Ritz crackers and Mileplex, dude.
Come on.
I fucking, 'cause I never drink water on runs and shit. I fucking didn't know about all this shit. So I go out there and I'm running. I get through 50 miles. I'm gonna cut to the chase because I detail it really well in the book. I get going. I sit down at mile 70. And buddy, I hadn't sat down yet. And I sit down and everything falls the fuck apart. Literally, man, I'm like peeing blood down my leg. I have some crap coming out of me. And I got 30 fucking miles to go. And I'm in the worst shape of my entire life. And so I won't get too deep into it, man, but I end up going back through my cookie jar, and I talk about, my cookie jar is basically something I invented about. We forget how badass we are when we're suffering, because our mind just stays right there in suffering. The cookie jar is a reminder. You know how your mom used to have the cookie jar. You don't know what kind of cookie you're gonna get, but it may be oatmeal raisin, maybe chocolate chip meat, because she's dumped some in that motherfucker. You just grab one and go. Yeah. So my cookie jars, the things I've accomplished, failed at, didn't fail at, just kept on grinding through. So I take this 1 second, I calm down, so I realize, okay, man, I got to be able to just stand up first, come all dizzy and lightheaded. And I go through this process. And I said, I might quit, but not yet. I go, this is the worst shape of my life. So I said I might quit because when you're not going to quit something, you got 30 miles to go, your mind's spazzing. Like, I'm fucked up. Like 30 miles is a long way to go, just fresh. I've already gone 70, I'm in the worst shape of my life. I'm like, okay, so I'm giving my mind some space. Because if you don't give it space, it's just going to freak out. Okay. So I'm saying, what, I'm going to quit, but let me just sit here for a second and drink some water. Now I'm drinking water. I have my crew going over to get some fucking, nutrition, some food for me. I'm getting better. So now I stand up. I'm like, wow, I'm able to stand up now. Because I wasn't able to. I was all lightheaded. And I'm going on this track, and I get to mile 81, and I wasn't going to make the time. I was moving slow.
You're behind time.
Way behind. Okay. And this is the craziest thing in the world. And I fucking shit you not. I'm in the worst shape of my entire life. Ever. I've never even been close to this. Again. Never. Mile 81, I'm not going to make the time as slow as I was moving. And when your body and mind connect, and I think this is the only time I've ever done this,
okay,
you become a cyborg. I end up running 20 miles at about a 10, 15 mile and get done with that race. I did 101 miles in 19 hours and 6 minutes. And to this day, and I don't detail it well with you, but in the book I do, I learned more from that 19 hours and 6 minutes than I did in all 3 Hell Weeks, Ranger School, and this is months. Ranger School is 60-something days. Hell Week and all the buds is 6 months. I was in buds for like 18 months. I went through Delta Force selection twice. Pull-up records. I learned more in that one race that I wasn't prepared for. That 19 hours brought me from utter misery, happiness, failure, success, depression. I went through every fucking emotion in the world in 19 hours. And you should hear how the race ended. Then I really took a shit on myself. Like, I got in that blue chair when the race ended, and I literally, it just was over. I was in the worst shape of my life. I got in the tub, and they put the shower, or she put the shower on me. The showers hit me as I'm laying in the tub in the fetal position. And what came out of me looked like dirt as I'm peeing. It's not even blood. This is dark brown dirt. And I'm sitting there, and she calls my mom, and my mom has a doctor friend over her house. And this guy's one of the best doctors in the country. And he's like, you need to get him to the doctor now.
No.
So what I'm about to tell you is gonna fuck you up. So I'm sitting there, and I think I'm gonna die. And worst shape of my life. And I'm in this tub, and I'm jackhammering, and I had this hot water hitting me, and I'm literally in the worst pain. My shins, my feet, I'm broken. And I'm just sitting, I'm cramping up. And she said, we gotta get you to the doctor. You know, your mom's worried, I'm worried about, like, we've never seen this before in my life. And I go, I'm not going anywhere. I want to sit here and enjoy this pain. And I know the listeners hearing this are gonna say, man, you're a fucking nut. No, I'm not. What I got a chance to experience in that 19 hours and 6 minutes of my life was something I didn't want any painkillers. This was proof positive. What I was feeling is what I just did. I did something without training, without coaching, without a cheering staff, without any knowledge. I took a raw human being with no training whatsoever, put him out in a condition, and just through this alone, got through it.
Amazing.
And I sat there and I was like, it was the best feeling I've ever had and will ever have in my entire, I was in the worst pain in my life, and it was the best feeling I ever had in my life. Not because of the pain I was in, but the pain was confirmation of, my God, did I just do that?
Wow.
And I had completed hell weeks, but that right there was like, don't take this from me.
Man.
And it was confirmation, proof positive that this young kid that came from shit, that wasn't shit, that lied and cheated I was now the truth.
God.
I was now the truth. I was a Navy SEAL. I went through Army Ranger School as honor man. I went through all this shit. I was truth. I became truth.